I've met so many people that were struggling to run one business, yet I've met others that were running 30 businesses and still made time for friends and family. On this video, we're going to talk about time mastery. How do you master your time? How do you master time management? Now, we all wish we had more time. Proverbs 21:5 states that the plans of the diligent lead to profit. When you're diligent about your time, you will have more profit. You will produce more results, right? This is not prosperity gospel. This is a biblical principle of being diligent with everything that God's given you. So we have 5 principles, 5 ways that you can master time. The first one is you are the steward of your time. Einstein time states that there is an abundance of time and that time is relative. So time is relative. Newton time states that time is finite. And so we're going to talk about how Einstein time, right, relativity of time, allows you to create more within the 24-hour period than the average person who believes that they are a victim to time. Because the challenge is many people believe they're a victim to time, that time is in control of them, that they're overwhelmed by time. Time is this external force that is taking away their fun, their connection with their family, and all the good stuff in life. However, what if I told you that you actually have control over time and God has given time as your steward? Time comes from God. However, we are to steward it well. So what does it mean to steward it well? First, we have to understand that time is relative. Imagine that you are taken hostage by a terrorist, and the terrorist takes you to this room, and in the middle of this room, there is a stove. We'll call it an electric stove. And there's an electric stove because they got no gas maybe in this area. I don't know how they have power, but we'll assume they have power. So they're in the middle of the desert. They take you to this room. There's power there, and you have this oven, and this oven has been on for an hour. The stove's been on for an hour, and they go and they tell you to go sit on that stove. Now, when you sit on that stove, you're going to jump up, right, from the excruciating pain. But what if they forced you to stay on that stove? How slow would time feel? Every second that went by would feel like an hour. If they had you on there for 10 minutes, it would feel like the longest 10 minutes of your life. But is 10 minutes a long time? Well, it depends on what you're doing. So time is relative. Now let's say that you had a best friend that you haven't seen in 15 years, and they come by and they want to come fly out to come meet you at your house, and they say, we only have 10 minutes to catch up. That's going to feel like the shortest 10 minutes of your life. So time is relative. You're able to manipulate time, right? And so high achievers, high performers know this. They're able to squeeze more out of every hour than the average human being is able to squeeze out just by that knowledge that I just shared. Understanding that you have power over time, that you are the steward of time. There's 24 hours. However, you can speed that time up or you can slow it down. Number 2 is pace determines progress. What you believe about how far away you are from your goals and your destination determines the progress that you will make towards them. So if you believe that your financial goal is 30 years away, right, you will take less action than if you believe that your financial goal was 6 months away. What you believe about how far you are from the success that you're looking to achieve is in direct proportion to how much effort and how much pace, how much energy that you have about reaching that goal. Average performers assume their goals are very far and they take forever. They're lackadaisical about their goals. They come home, they grab a beer, they sit on the couch, when in reality, they could be learning the skill set that's necessary because what they want is so close. When a high performer believes the close. They bring the goal that they maybe think was far, they bring it close and say, what if I did this faster? And actually get themselves to believe that it's much closer than maybe in reality is, but it gets them to go drive towards it, right? And so elite performers, they bring the goal closer. Average performers say, it'll probably never happen. It's 30 years out. I'm not going to even work towards it. So are you in a hurry to achieve your goals? Do you walk fast? Or are you taking hour and a half long lunches, just being slow in general? I've found the most successful people, they tend to walk a little bit faster. They tend to do things a little bit quicker. They produce more results, sometimes 10 times the results of an average human being. So there is power in increasing your pace. Number 3 is winners control how they spend their time. They're not a victim to their time. They believe that they are actually responsible for their time, and so they're very intentional with what they do. So a couple tips that I have for you is when you wake up in the morning, don't look at your phone. Right? I make it a point to not go through my emails on the phone in the morning, not check social media. I go and I focus on the routine that I have set in front of me. Second thing is don't get distracted by TV, right? Many times when we get home, we'll maybe turn on the TV or get distracted by the TV, which sucks our time. So winners control their time. They're intentional with their time. The third thing is say no more than you say yes. So say no to things more than you're saying yes to things. Other people being in control of your time will cause chaos in your life. It will cause you to feel out of control. The way to be in control of your time is to say no, right? I'm protecting my calendar. Another tip is to stick to your routine. If you have a routine, stick to it and don't let other distractions come at you. And finally, if you're going to rest well. So being in control of your time, you purposely dedicate time to rest. So if it's a weekend, right, you're focusing on resting and rejuvenating your batteries, right, recharging your batteries. And number 4 is mini days. Again, number 4 is mini days. So utilize mini days. So what is a mini day? A mini day is broken up into 4-hour chunks. So I break my days into 4-hour chunks. I have my 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. chunk. I have my 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., and then I have 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. And I treat each 4-hour chunk like it's its own day. Literally, like I can get so much work done in a 4-hour chunk because I collapse the time frame that I can do more work in 4 hours than many people get done in 8 or 12 hours. Because I don't believe I have 12 hours. I actually believe I only have this 4-hour chunk. So high performers, they collapse time frames. And so our mind, right, if your mindset is thinking you have an abundance of the day, your day will get away from you. But if you realize, hey, I got limited time, I have one mini day, right? Maybe you wake up at 7 a.m., I have a mini day at 7 a.m., I have a mini day at 11 a.m., and I have a mini day at 3 p.m. Like you will produce more results in those smaller chunks than you do just assuming you have 8 or 10 hours or 12 hours in the day that you fill with miscellaneous things. And one thing mini days allows is you can dedicate specific things to those mini days. So that 4-hour chunk might be your full morning routine, your family time, God time, whatever it may be. You may have a time for marketing and sales, and you may have a time for creativity, right? This dedicated time just to be creative, to think, and to build things. I hope you're enjoying this video. I'm the founder of Rise Up Kings, the largest faith-based personal development organization in the country. And it's our mission to reach as many people as possible to help them live lives of excellence, all to glorify God. We do this through our content that you're watching now. We do this through our seminars. So if you're enjoying this, please subscribe and share. Let's get back to the video. Number 5 is calendar your time. If you don't control your time, somebody else will. If you don't control your time, somebody else will. What does that look like? If you have a calendared appointment, right, on your calendar, and somebody comes and says, and your wife comes and says, hey, could you take the trash out? You have time dedicated to a specific thing. You have the ability to say no. Now, what if you had nothing on the calendar, but you wanted to do something? You wanted to write your book at that time. She now has control over your time. So the people that calendar their time have control over their time. I used to think that having a strict schedule, that having calendar time limited my freedom. However, what I realized was that I was more free by choosing and being intentional with my time. So what is calendaring of your time? Calendaring of your time is being intentional with your time. So what I do is I time block on my calendar. I do the most important things. I once had a conversation with my wife, and she saw my calendar, and she said, "Hey, why are you calendaring me? Like, why am I on your calendar?" And I said, "Hey, babe, the most important things to me are on my calendar. If you're not on my calendar, you're not important to me, because I live and die by my calendar." Right? So my date nights are on the calendar. That's critical. The time that I want to spend with my boys, I calendar that in the morning. The things that are most important to me, I put on my calendar. Right? My morning routine, my exercise, the creative work that I do is calendared. And so I want to challenge you, if you're not aggressively and intentionally and methodically utilizing your calendar, there's so much power in that. You gain more hours by being intentional with your time than you do by being reactive with your time. Cal Newport, the author of Deep Work, states that a 40-hour work week that is time blocked produces more output than a 60-plus hour work week that is pursued without structure. So a 40-hour work week that is time blocked will produce more results than, that's a 50% increase in productivity. So what's the lesson here? Calendar your time. So those are the 5 principles that I've utilized to be more effective and produce more results than the average human being. Right? And so my hope is that you're able to produce more results through mastering time, no longer being a victim of time. I wrote some best practices for you. Here's a list of some best practices. Number 1 is don't use, and I have them written down right here, don't use the word overwhelm. When you use the word overwhelm, it brings a certain emotion over you, and it shows that you are not in control of your time. Don't say, "I don't have enough time," right? Because you're in control of time, right? So you can make more time. It's just that what you're about to go do is not your top priority. If somebody says, "Hey, you want to go? Hey, you want to go help me move?" Hey, you know what? I don't have enough time for that. It's really that you could make time, you just don't want to make time. So, but saying "I don't have enough time" puts you in the victim mode, when in reality it's, "Hey, I just don't want to do that right now." So get out of the habit of saying "I don't have enough time for that," or "I'm overwhelmed." Number 2 is find a calendar that you feel most comfortable utilizing. I use Google Calendar. Some people use Outlook. Find a calendar, ideally that is digital. That way you can sync it with your wife's calendar, with other people's calendars. You can send invites, and they can know that you have a calendar that you live and die by. Another one is don't overbook your calendar. Leave some gaps. Start your meetings at after 8 a.m. If you can start your meetings after 8 a.m., sometimes even 9 a.m., it gives you more time, more space instead of grinding it out so early in the morning. Time block your most important tasks. So time block your one things. We operate based off a book called The One Thing. So your most important tasks that you want to get done for your business, time block those, right? Finish my book or make 10 sales calls, whatever your highest priority tasks are. Review your calendar regularly. I highly recommend reviewing your calendar every single day. I do it every morning. I actually made it, it's a part of the Ruck app that we have, where you have to review your calendar daily or else you'll forget it and you won't utilize it as much. Don't have too many recurring appointments, just a nugget that I've learned. Don't skip calendar appointments. If you have time blocked for yourself to do some creative work, don't skip it. It's very easy to get into a habit of skipping your time blocks, and then eventually you won't even effectively use your calendar. So if you put something on the calendar, do it. Otherwise, you'll just get out of discipline, and you'll get into the bad habit of skipping over your most important things. Collaborate with your spouse, use the same calendar, and those are my best practice. So I hope you got some value from this video. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe. It's my intention to provide incredible value to you, to help you rise to your God-given potential. I want more men and women living lives of excellence for the glory of God.